Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm your humble host, Kevin Kietzman, in for the next hour, leading you up to the Vince Show. We have multiple topics today, and as always, we will welcome your phone calls. If you have any questions or comments, we always love the interaction and the discussion. We are Kansas City's community for free speech right here on Uncanceled. Anytime you would like to join, feel free to call us. In just a little bit, we're going to discuss yet another investigation that's more important than the Epstein investigation, which I know got under a lot of your skin yesterday. But this Dr. Kevin O'Connor, Joe Biden's physician, pleading the fifth. Oh, boy. Congress is all up in Biden's kitchen on what happened during the last administration. We'll get into that. We'll also talk a little bit about Susie Wiles. She's the chief of staff, almost never does interviews. She sat down for a podcast and talked about Donald Trump and Elon Musk. We've got that for you. Mark is just gushing, as the entire city is, if you watched the Royals last night. If you don't have some sort of a man crush on Jack Caglione's ability to hit balls like a million miles, I mean, he hit the scoreboard last night in center field. It went over 3 walls. It was just a spectacular shot. And the Royals suddenly are back alive in things after a hot streak. All ahead, and Tom Brady has new love. We start today with this arrest in Clay County at Smithville Lake of Carlos Glimaco Garcia. And I don't need to get into the details. You've heard Pete talking about it. You've probably heard the story. The man was allegedly at the park, the beach, right by Smithville Lake. 2 young girls, age 13, were approached by this man, and he grabbed them and was allegedly fondling them, allegedly trying to take their swim panties off, their swim bottoms off, and do really bad things to them. According to these girls and authorities and witnesses, he was physical with them. They got away by kicking him in the groin, and they told the authorities that he offered to take them back to Mexico. That's the story. I don't need to get into the story. That's just awful. Enough of the story. Now let me tell you what happened with me and maybe you, and I hope members of the media in Kansas City are listening, because as Pete so aptly pointed out, nobody else is reporting that ICE has a detainer on this guy. Pete broke that news this morning, and the feds have him. That leads you to believe he's either A, illegally in the country, or B, they want him as a witness to something else, which is possible, but a long shot, a very long shot. You're in local custody, and now ICE has the detainer on you. He absolutely could be a candidate for Alligator Alcatraz or any other holding place in the United States while processing for deportation. And that is a problem in itself, as far as I'm concerned. If you're here illegally, if he is indeed here illegally, and he allegedly, I don't care if he's convicted or not, allegedly did this, he should be deported now. You can deport someone just for being illegal, and America wants that. There's a combination of 4 polls that have been taken over the last 10 days, and the average of those polls shows that 57% of Americans, that is a whopping number, by the way, 57, and they may not be thinking this through, 57% of Americans say, yes, deport anyone who's here illegally. Now, I know a gentleman that's been in this country for over 30 years, and he's a great guy. And he works hard. He has worked for, he's worked in I'll just say, I don't want to give too much away because I don't even know who he is or whatever. He worked at a regular company, regular job that was actually a government kind of job. And then on the side, he has his own company and he does landscaping. And I've never met anybody work harder than this guy. He's like Pete Mundo, outdoors. And he goes and he does landscaping with his son, and they do it all themselves. And if you ask me, would I be okay with deporting all illegals? I think generically I would say yes. And then I think of this man and I think no. I don't know. Maybe he's a citizen. Maybe he isn't now. But a friend of mine thinks he's not still. I find that hard to believe, but because he's been here a long time. But imagine you know somebody like that, and they're in your world. You really want them all deported. But America's spoken. This polling is real. It's 57%. At Smithville Lake. Well, let me tell you what happened with me on this case. And I'm always going to be a truth teller. You can judge me if you want, but we're living in a free speech era, and I'm just going to say it. I saw the story on a website, and I saw his mugshot. And the first thing that came into my mind is he here illegally? Now, I talk about this issue a lot. It's part of my work, whatever. But I've got friends, I've got relatives. We run in circles. We know people. I'm guessing you don't do this sort of thing for a living or work in media for a living. But I'll bet there's thousands of people right now listening to me going, you know what? I thought the same thing when I saw it. This is a weird dynamic. First of all, the liberal media don't even think of that. Not only have they not reported this yet, they don't even look at this and ask the question. So what's happened in the last 10 years? We've gone from a country that everything's blind, we're not judging, it's not okay to profile, don't think anything of anybody, don't look at their skin color, their gender, or think anything about anybody. You just totally be medium on everything. Everything's equal. Everything's a square. There's nothing in the world round. That's the way we're supposed to view the world. Trump comes down the escalator, talks about criminal element coming in from other countries, and this country melted down. We couldn't believe what a racist, xenophobe, hysterical, crazy, bigoted person Donald Trump is. 10 years later, 57% of the country say deport everyone, whether you've committed a crime or not. Why? Because Trump was right, and we didn't know it. They kept it from us. There were millions of illegal aliens in this country committing crimes, and nobody reported that. It was not out there. What will Donald Trump's legacy be? I think it might be this. You know, there's 13,000 murderers from other countries amongst us. There are allegedly some 400,000 violent criminals that we know of that have been caught or detained or whatever that are illegal aliens. That's an insane amount of bad things happening to citizens. So I'm not going to allow you to put me in a corner or a box and say, you're a bigot, Kevin. When I saw this guy's picture and I heard he was trying to rip the panties off 13-year-old girls at Smithville Lake, I'm sorry. First thing I thought of, he's fleeing from somewhere and here up to no good. My instinct was right. I'm going to guess a lot of people were that way. The crazy part about the media, not only do they not want to report that part of the story, they don't even think to ask the question. They don't even think to look into it yet. They're stuck in Obama world, okay? 2014, 2015, where you can't do any of this stuff. They were raised in Obama. These people in the media are young. They were raised in Obama schools. Their teachers all told them the same thing. They're not the same thing. They're not changing. What is astonishing to me is how the media will never change. Most businesses in America adapt to what Americans are thinking. We have pot businesses all over Missouri in the Kansas City area. Why? They adapted to change. Pot became legal in Missouri. We got pot businesses everywhere. Business adapts to what society believes in. What the American citizen society believes in today is closed border and deportation. And we literally have news organizations in this city that will see this creeper. And you can call me and tell me I'm a terrible person. Maybe I am. Maybe there's just something wrong with me. And maybe I look at things through a lens of radio guy or career of journalism or things like that. Maybe I'm looking through different glasses than everyone else. I'm telling you, when I saw the mugshot, the first thing I thought is that guy illegal? Because it sounds like one of these illegal alien crimes, doesn't it? Does it sound like a dude that's an American citizen that's been here for 30 years? Of course that can happen. And if we want to get deeper into this, if we really want to get deeper, this is widespread. And if we want to talk about stereotypes, maybe we are unfair to Hispanic folks. Maybe it's bad. Maybe we are terrible at this. Because I'm going to guess this too. I'm going to guess there's a lot of black people in Kansas City saw that story and asked the same question. You know what doesn't happen with the oppressed black population in our country anymore? That for all these years we've been told, oh, you're profiling, driving while black, all these other things. You know what doesn't happen anymore? Or doesn't happen at all, period. Nobody sees a mugshot of somebody that's African American and goes, I wonder if they're here illegally and we should deport them. Nobody thinks that. We still see that person as an American citizen. Birthright citizenship from a family that's been here, maybe for generations. It's a different standard in this country. It is not racist, and it's not a stereotype. Citizenship is a cherished thing. It's real. We have rights that others in this country should not have. And when you see this polling on this stuff, it's crazy to me that we can't take this creeper, even if he just walked up and engaged and spoke to in a weird way those 13-year-old girls. Forget touching them or trying to take their swim pants off, whatever. Forget any of that. And forget the alleged part, okay? Something happened where the authorities were called. Our tax dollars were burned to the hilt on this. No matter what happened, you and I paid for all this. In one fashion or another, we're paying for it. Every single American citizen that pays taxes is paying for this because now ICE is involved in the federal government and everything else, okay? We're paying for this all to be cleaned up. That guy's got to go. He's got to go. I know Tom Homan believes that. And I'm not a staunch, hard, hey, you're an illegal alien, you got to go. I think there's a lot of great people here and stories and people that have been here a long time. You know what? They should have got off their butt and become a citizen. If you've been here 30 years, you ought to be a citizen by now. You clearly haven't tried. And that's on you. And I understand why people would say, deport them. If they haven't gone to the trouble of becoming a citizen, deport them. I get that part of the argument. I just don't think you can apply it to every single person. But this creeper, I don't care if he's guilty or not. They sent how many cars to the lake and officers looking for this guy? They hunt him down, they get him, they detain him, that costs money. They feed him, they clothe him, they bring in lawyers. We get the federal government involved. Now it's going to be a long, drawn-out deal. We're all paying for this. Get him out of here. Deport him. I forget due process. He's not a citizen. I don't know what the laws are, and I don't speak to the laws. I'm talking about how this should be right now. If you're here illegally, you should be self-deporting. If you're in any risk at all, any danger, there is zero chance if this guy did this, that's the first time he's done that. He's here for a reason. He likely got caught somewhere else and fled and came here. It's just, and it's all high and mighty. Oh, they're seeking asylum. Yeah, because I fondle little girls. I'm going to America seeking asylum. No thanks. We don't want you. This guy's got to go. And I'm not going to apologize that the first thing that popped into my head is the question, and where's the reporting on this? The reporters don't even, forget reporting it. They don't even think about it. They don't even think, I wonder if this guy's legal or illegal. Because it's a problem. We have hundreds of thousands of illegal alien criminals amongst us. They're everywhere. And every single American with a vote now has been somehow affected by this, whether it's a story on their local news, something they heard on the radio, or something that happened to someone in their family or friend circle, or even in their distant circle on their Facebook friends. Everybody now knows something that's happened. They're connected to it. My daughter went to the University of Georgia. That's where that horrible killing was, from that monster that chased that young lady down at the University of Georgia. Does that affect everybody that goes to the University of Georgia? Of course it does. Everybody's seeing this stuff, and it's not isolated cases. I'm sorry, this guy's got to go. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled. We're taking your calls next on KCMO.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Kevin Kietzman.
Got another big story here in Kansas City we'll address in a moment. A big-time celebrity and UFC champion is in a Kansas City hospital today. I'll have that story for you coming right up. Stay with us. To the phones we go. And we begin today with Brett on Uncanceled. Good morning, Brett. What's going on in your world?
Oh, not much. How are you doing today, Kevin?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, reference this guy up in Smithville. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Absolutely no doubt. Get him out of here. One thing I haven't heard in all the reports, and it's obvious it didn't happen or else the left-wing media would be all over it, is they list that there were several witnesses that saw this happen. How was this guy not taken to the ground, detained, or beat down by all these people standing around watching him do this?
Okay, that's interesting because it was convoluted the way I read it. When I read the account, it almost sounded like he claimed that he had two witnesses and they were like 100 yards away and they wanted to interview those people, that he said he didn't do it and he had two witnesses. Now, I could be wrong. It was convoluted the way it was written. It was not very clear, but it almost read to me like he was claiming he had witnesses, that these two girls were their own witnesses, but then he had his own. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I've been up to Smithville several times, go to the lake up there all the time. I know where the swim beach is, and well, one of the main ones that people drive into, and that thing's usually packed, especially on a hot day like that. I don't understand how, if people see that going down, how this guy just not taken to the ground and held until officers get there. It should have been very simple, but we know that didn't happen, or the left wing would be all over. They wouldn't even care about the fact of what he was doing. They'd just be upset that, hey, people attacked this poor guy for no reason.
Right. But what I don't understand is why they're the last to move on this, because America's decided on this issue now. There's no division in this country over this. We can talk about a polarized country. We are not polarized on immigration in any way in the United States. We're not. The last bastion of it is in the media. Why can't they see that? Why can't they see they're on the wrong side? Like James Carville made some comments last night. Maybe we'll talk about these a little bit later about DEI is dead. T-Mobile's just dropped its DEI. All these companies are dropping. They're like, the Democrats are now running from pronouns and DEI. They're running from it. They're like, we were wrong. We blew it. There's a stench on us. How come they can't recognize it on this issue?
Oh, they recognize it. They just don't want to report on it because they want to protect us still. I don't understand why. I'm like you.
I know. Like, get on board with the American people. That's it.
Yeah, they can't do that. It's beyond them.
Yeah, I think you're right. Great call, buddy. Thanks,
buddy.
Thank you. It literally is your job as a politician to represent the people. And America's decided on this issue. This thing is not close. Immigration is not close. What's it swung? 30 points to the proper side because of Trump. Because it's out there for people to see. It's on their feed, on their phone. They see it everywhere. That's how these things change. Indeed, how they change. So, no, Carville went absolutely ballistic. He called DEI a racket. He says it's now universal within the Democrat Party that DEI was a disaster, that AOC has scrubbed the pronouns from her website. It was one big, giant, massive disaster, really stupid of Democrats. We're still trying to wash the stench off this SH word. Everybody's trying to get away from it, Carville said, and he's right. That's DEI. Certainly immigration is next. They just got to stop and let it happen. I think Trump's going to wear them down. I think the only reason that the media is fighting is they just don't like Trump. But they're not doing themselves any favor as media outlets at all by not covering these parts of the story. They're not doing anybody any good. It's going to get out, and people are going to see it. Back to the phones in a moment. Randy Couture is a 6-time UFC champion. He's one of the original legends of the sport. He's 62 years old. He's been in a couple of Expendables movies and some others. He's a Hall of Famer in that sport. He's very well known, and like as I said, he helped build UFC into what it is today. Apparently, he was in Kansas City a couple of days ago, practicing racing at Odessa Speedway for an NHRA race. He's becoming a driver. At age 62, he's becoming a driver because, of course, he is. Trust me, this guy's like really famous. He crashes his car in Odessa on the track, and they basically like life flight him to a burn unit. It doesn't say which hospital in Kansas City because they don't want fans showing up. This is a really random Kansas City story that Randy Couture is here practicing to be a driver, crashed at Odessa, and there's some pictures of him at TMZ and TMZsports.com of his arm all burned up and wrapped like he's in the burn unit. This apparently was a very bad accident for a very famous actor. He is also an Army veteran. Pretty sure he's completely 100%. Sure he's completely 100% Team MAGA. Okay, this is our boy, Randy Couture. You like this guy, trust me. And he's a Hall of Famer, 6-time UFC champ in 2 different weight classes, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was very versatile and great. So we certainly wish him the best here in Kansas City. Back to the phones we go, and Paul is up next on KCMO. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I can give you the reason why I think the Democrats are on the wrong side. They're following the European model. They believe that mass illegal immigration, that's why they say undocumented, Karen Bass and all them say undocumented, is power. They believe this is the voting bloc physically and at the polls, that they will come out and vote and keep them in power to just like Destroyer Zohan up there. He knows that if he gets illegal immigrants and he gives them free housing and they become legal voters, he's in power for years. And I believe if you look at your – go ahead, Kim.
Right, but they're not fighting DEI anymore. They've given up. We were wrong. We see what the American public says. Why don't they give this one up? There's no voting block there for them. And the illegals, we're gonna stop them from voting.
Right, but they believe that if they could pass laws like in California that where, hey, we'll give you a driver's license, we'll put you on the state dole, we'll get you to vote, and if you vote for us, we maintain power for generations.
I agree with you.
20 million.
I agree with you, but the fact is they're looking at this going, we're wrong. That voter block will not help us get elected. It's a losing proposition for Democrats. And I think the Democrats.
I agree with you. I think it's a bad business model.
There's no question. And they know this. And I think the politicians would move away from it, except they have Trump derangement syndrome. But the media is even crazier. That literally is like private business, okay? They're not doing what their people want to see and hear on the news. They're just not giving them the news.
Right. No, that's exactly right. That's why that word undocumented, what does that even mean? They got a driver's license, so they're documented. But, yeah.
It's written in law that you're an illegal alien. Great call. Excellent call. Thank you. It is written into our laws. They are defined in this country as illegal aliens. They are here illegally, and they're from a foreign place. If you're from a foreign place, you're technically an alien. That's the definition of the word. You are absolutely an illegal alien. They are fighting a losing battle. America's decided on this one. Uncanceled continues on KCMO.
You're listening to Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
We are back on Uncanceled. Thanks for joining us each and every day here on KCMO Talk Radio. The Vince Show coming your way at 11 o'clock. We're taking your calls. I still got some tasty topics ahead of me. Steven's been waiting patiently, and he is back on KCMO. Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Hey, Kev. I haven't been able to call for a while. I want to congratulate our girls for kicking that guy in the groin. that's my take on this story. Our girls can take care of ourselves in this country.
That's your cake, or that's your cherries on top.
Well, sadly, if you read the European press, this is not a new development that most of these perverts, take advantage of a crowded pool,
of course,
in a situation where inexperienced girls who might not tell an elder or a police officer, and our girls just kick them in the groin, and
right.
and they don't need anybody else to step in.
This is a little bit of sad commentary, but he's obviously not very smart. His biggest mistake was there were two of them.
Well,
right. Most of these creeps go after solo girls.
Right. I've heard that they might have a warrant. The Fox 4 and the Woke 41 said they may have a warrant for the other guy too. So they've been working in a team. That don't quote me on this. It's just
I don't know about that.
Just word going around the probable cause statement.
Okay.
But I had a football question for you.
All right.
I enjoyed reading the Drudge Report and seeing Kevin Kietzman on there this week. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. My question is, do you think that this idea of guys like in baseball playing them into shape, do you think kind of Travis Kelce going to Montana and having sort of a going off the grid and working out and showing up in shape, is that sort of a tacit admission of last year that was? I mean, he caught the most passes of anyone in history of his age, but that's kind of an admission that he was kind of off his game last
Patrick
year.
Mahomes and Travis Kelce both have publicly stated immediately after the Super Bowl and all off season they are rededicating, working harder than ever, and coming back with a vengeance. That's the only reason I brought this topic up. Patrick Mahomes has never been thin. Okay, he can be the thicker flicker. I'm fine with that. If that's what he wants to be known as, is the most body fat of any quarterback in the NFL, good for him. He's a great player like that. I love the guy. He's generational. He's the best player we've ever seen, and he's the greatest all-time athletic performer in the history of our great city. He's all those things. The question is, as he gets into his 30s, can he keep doing it that way? George Brett couldn't do it that way. Let's get George Brett on and ask him if he could do it, because he made a dramatic change in his 30s.
All of those things are true. My question to you is if Travis Kelce broke Chris Carter's record for the oldest man to catch 100 passes, and that happened last year. How and Mahomes is a first ballot Hall of Famer, successor to Tom Brady. The question I'll postulate to you is, how much greater could this guy be if he did a Travis Kelce and just sort of dedicate himself to getting into shape for 3 or 4 months?
And I agree, and that was the context of my point, but nobody cares about that. I mean, no. Look, the critics never went back and listened to my 3.5 minutes of commentary. It was based on 40 years of knowledge of covering football and being around quarterbacks. There's yet to be a quarterback I've ever met that after they got in their 30s didn't say it was 10 times as hard as it was in their 20s. That's the point of my comments. That's all. It's time to get really serious. And this was the offseason. He was going to get serious, and he hasn't done that yet. That's fine. Well, he and his trainer can both. And by the way, his trainer's deleted all the posts, got in trouble with the Chiefs, blocked me from Twitter. I'm not the one in trouble. Okay, the trainer's the guy in trouble. He's the guy in trouble for literally telling every client he's ever had it's okay to carry belly fat, that you want 15% body fat as a pro athlete. I've never heard that in my life by anyone.
Yeah. I think Patrick sort of believed that if you have that sort of like armor,
he was the checks, dude. If you're writing the checks to the trainer, it's like, I mean, seriously.
Well, I don't know. I didn't play quarterback, but I would think if you have that body, I've seen guys get collarbone injuries like Jaden Daniels. If you have that body armor, maybe that helps you. I don't know. I didn't play quarterback, so I couldn't tell you.
I'd rather not have the weight and be just a little bit faster to get out of the way of those guys. That's what I'd want to be.
Yeah, he's magnificent.
So,
He's a great.
he's the
one of
greatest we've ever seen. It's not even close. He's the greatest we've ever had in Kansas City. And of course, it's nitpicking. But the point is, Kansas City is never going to be satisfied with 3 Super Bowls out of Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you right now, we can fast forward 10 years, and if they haven't won another one, we're all going to be disappointed and say he didn't do this, didn't do that. There will be critics. There will be. It happens in every town.
Kevin,
we are spoiled rotten here. I'm just telling you how this is going to go. He's going to have to work
Kevin,
harder as he goes forward.
I predict one thing. I predict that Travis Kelce will break the record for most catches by a man over 35 years old again this year because he's training and he's in shape.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Great call, Steve. Thank you. I'll have to see it in a game. You know, I know Kelce showed up to training camp, spring training, OTAs, whatever, looking better. But we don't know if he's lost a step. I mean, he literally could be old enough now that he's not fast enough to get open like he did before. There's no way to know until you play in these games, the real games. Trust me, there's no way to know. And I'm with you. I'm hoping that Travis Kelce is there, and all those things are true as well. It looks like he's put in the work and wants to do that. I can't disagree with that. I think that he probably has. But there also could be a chance that he's not good enough anymore, that he's just older and slower. It catches everyone. We all thought this about Salvador Perez a month ago. Didn't we? Didn't we all think, okay, Salvi's got one more year left, or the Royals going to pick up the option, keep him, they're going to give him $2 million and let him go next year? What are they going to do with Salvi? Well, the weather gets hot every year. Same thing happens. He just starts mashing it. And he had 2 home runs last night. And this is what Salvi does. So, I mean, you can go into your 30s for sure. It's very rare for somebody to get their 40s. I don't know any tight ends that were 40. That's a whole different deal. So my screen went blank there, Mark. Who's on one? LB is with us. Hello, LB. You're on KCMO. Good morning.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I wanted to comment on a couple items in your podcast yesterday. One was sharing the story about Avery Johnson at K-State and the league commissioner coming up to him and essentially pointing out that the success of the conference really depends on Avery and K-State performing well.
Well, that's not exactly what I said or the commissioner, and I think that was on my podcast, not the radio show, but that's okay. Avery Johnson's a quarterback at Kansas State. For the quarterback at Kansas State, for the people in our audience that don't know, he gained 17 pounds this offseason while losing body fat. It is all lean muscle. So if he lost fat and added 17 pounds, he probably added 25 pounds of muscle to his body, which is the way most people train in athletics or quarterbacks or whatever. It's really ideal. It's what you want is muscle and not the fat. You want to be heavy and strong and be able to take a hit, but muscle takes a hit a lot better than belly fat. I mean, let's just be honest. It just does.
Right. Well, I'm referring to your podcast.
There you
the
go.
other item, which I've not heard.
Okay.
And after listening to you and Pete from 6 till 11 every morning, I listen to Fox News and Fox Business, and I have not heard anybody mention what you stated about $300 billion in tariffs coming in that the Treasury Secretary Benson just announced that it go directly towards paying down the debt.
Well, that's my idea. He didn't say that. That was my idea.
No,
so
he
Secretary Besson said, right. Thanks for the call, man. I really appreciate it. It was a great call. Secretary Besant said, we're going to take in $300 billion this year. But then he also said $2.8 trillion over 10 years, which is baffling to me. Why? Why would the number be more like $4 trillion or 5, way more than that? If you're doing 300 this year at an annualized rate, why wouldn't it be more than that over 10 years? That's just math. And my idea is, why don't we find a way to pass a law, write up something, do whatever it is you got to do, and say every nickel that comes in with tariffs does not go to the Treasury. It goes to paying down the principal on our debt. Not the interest, the principal. Why can't we do that? This is new money. This is newfound money for the federal government. If we have a budget problem, a deficit problem, and we're paying $1 trillion a year or whatever it is in debt, and Congress allots that and pays for that, don't give it to Congress, for God's sake. Don't let them spend the money. Separate this money you're bringing in with the tariffs and start paying down the principal. Then every year your debt gets lower. That's the way you pay it off. You do this at your house, folks. I'm not Dave Ramsey. This is the easiest thing ever. At some point, you got to pay the principal down. Why can't you dedicate that toward the principal and pay off the bonds or however it's financed or whatever it is? If we're going to do $300 billion a year, and that's going to be, I think it's probably going to be $4 trillion over the next 10 years, why can't we pay down $4 trillion worth of the deficit, the actual principal on it, over the next 10 years? Wouldn't that in the long run be a lot smarter than giving it to the Treasury and letting them do whatever they want? Thanks for the call. Very difficult situation. That's the first time that's happened, I think. Somebody called the show and had a bunch of podcast questions. I do a podcast every morning called Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. And many of you say, hey, why aren't you doing 3 hours, whatever? Look, I do an hour here. I got a podcast every day. If you want more of what it is that I do, go to the podcast after the show. It's all good. Or in the evening or when you're on your walk with your dog, whatever it may be. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Just punch in the search bar, KK Has Issues. Or Kevin Kietzman. It'll pop right up. I'm right next to Kevin Hart when you put him in. Okay? But it's Kevin Kietzman Has Issues is the way you want to do that. So we appreciate that. A couple of other news stories here. Dr. Kevin O'Connor was the presidential physician to Joe Biden. He was also a business partner of his back in the day. They've got business. He went in front of James Comer. Okay, we got to be careful with the names. James Comer, the congressman, the committee that's investigating the cover-up of the Biden presidency, and pled the fifth this week. And a lot of times you plead the fifth to not incriminate yourself. I get that. But sometimes you do it and it's kind of an admission of guilt. I'll let you decide what that may be, but this is really bad. There is a way to get him to talk. This is really simple for Comer and Congress. He's business partners with Biden. That's also being investigated. Give him complete and full immunity. He doesn't have to give over the medical records. Just make a witness of him. Give this doctor complete immunity because he could be in real trouble. And he's got to know that. Give him complete and utter immunity. Tell us everything about everything. That'd be a great way to do that. Susie Wiles is the chief of staff. She never does interviews. The Ice Maiden, is that what Trump calls her? The Ice Maiden? She's great. She did a sit down on a podcast, which really surprised me. And I think it was more like a women's kind of podcast thing. And she's awesome. She's kind of not soft-spoken, but let's say direct, plain-spoken, matter of fact. She said Elon and Trump's relationship, quote, it was a great thing when it was a great thing. And she kind of wryly looked at the interviewer like, I think you probably know what that means. And the follow-up was like, yeah, but what went wrong? And she says, well, she was disappointed in the way it ended as well, but didn't go into detail. She said that Elon Musk knew people and knew things to do and how to find money and all, that nobody else in Trump's administration knew. Invaluable resource, she called him. Look, they got to get back together. That's all I know. They got to get back together. When we come back, Tom Brady has found love again for the 27th time. This one is another big-time celebrity. And Jack Caglione hits a ball so far, Mark is still looking for it. That's next on KCMO. We're brought to you, of course, by our friends at bestofferkc.com. Sometimes you need a friend in life. And I would like for you to think of bestofferkc.com as your friend in a possible real estate life. If you or someone you know, and potentially someday you'll know somebody that needs to sell a house quickly, without a realtor, without fix-ups, without showings, if that occurs, you need a real estate friend. And that's what Best Offer KC is. They'll help you get this done quickly with no hassle and no realtor. They really are the folks you can count on. Whether it's an inherited house, financial issue, a personal matter, or a health concern, Best Offer KC is there for you. These are great Kansas Cityans. They're members of our community. They're an outstanding business, and they care. They're different than the other guys. They don't think your house is ugly, and they don't judge anybody in any situation. They want to help you when you need help the most. Many times that means they come and consult with you, and you decide that that's not the right way to go. And they give you a suggestion to do it another way that will make you even more money, and you can still get your goals accomplished. That happens all the time with Best Offer. They're legit. They're the real deal. BestOfferKC.com. 338-SOLD. That's 816-338-SOLD for BestOfferKC.com, helping you leave the hassle behind.
Whether you're a Jayhawk, Wildcat, Tiger, or KC Roo, we won't cancel you. Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
They've had some border issues in Poland, and they're pretty good in Poland about taking care of that, but they're allowing vigilante groups to go to the border and do whatever it is that they want to do. And my favorite, I saw a story of this group called Gromda. It's a Polish bare-knuckle boxing troupe. It's sort of an underground fight club, but apparently there might be hundreds of them. These underground fighters are going to the border of Poland to push back people from coming in illegally. I love that story. I don't encourage anybody to do that in the United States. We got our own way of doing it. I just think we should consider Poland and look at them in a different light. They seem like they should be really, really, really good friends of ours, the Poles, and everything that they're doing there. Mark Van Sickle, Tom Brady has found new love. I feel like this one with the star that he's with is going to take Travis and Taylor off of the front page of the tabloids, and Tom Brady's about to spend quite a few months there. Do you know who his new girlfriend is?
Really? I heard some rumors.
Yeah.
Is it true? Is it Gloria?
No, it's Sophia.
Oh, yeah. Gloria from Modern Family.
Gloria from Modern
Yes,
Family.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Sophia Vergara.
Yes.
They are yachting in the Mediterranean as we speak.
That's fun.
She, over 4th of July weekend, took a bare-bunned picture laying on the boat. I think it was like laying down where you can't see anything. This is the trip she's on with him. Is he taking those pictures? Who's taking those? Like, this was like on the yacht.
Oh, yeah. He's seeing it all.
Well, I know that, but I'm just wondering, like, they got somebody along with them to take these social media pictures. Then there's pictures of him there at a bar afterwards. He doesn't have a drink in his hand or anything, and he's tall and lean, and he's very thin. And one person posted afterward, geez, Tom Brady, AIDS or heroin? I'm like, what? You think I'm bad? I mean, seriously, he is wildly thin. He is very, very into getting in shape.
Body shaming his thinness.
Yeah. Sophia Vergara and Tom Brady. Wow. Well, they'll spend a lot of time together in L.A. I think Brady works out of L.A. with Fox Sports, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she does the game show thing or the talent contest.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that? America's Got Talent?
I think John would know better than
America's
me. I'm
Got
not sure.
Talent, I think
Yeah,
is
that's
what
the
she's
one.
on. There you go. You a fan of hers? You love that show?
I used to watch Modern Family a lot.
Have you seen the Eric Stone Street and the guy that played his lover on the show? They're doing a TV commercial now.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, they're acting in character, but they're using their own personal first names, and it's pretty good. It's about a game on your phone. It's a free game,
Okay.
Royal Flush or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting huge stars. I think a couple of people from Big Bang Theory are doing one together. Kaylee Cuoco and whatever they're doing these. So, boy,
Nice.
you talk about ringing the cash register, Eric Stone
Oh, yeah.
Street. Love that guy. They're funny because they're in character. They're pretty good spots if you haven't seen those. How far do you say Jack Caglione's home run went last night, Mark? And please don't tell me 466 feet.
Yeah, it had to be further than that, right?
I think so.
Once it hits the crown, I mean, it would have gone farther than that. Do they do the
Right.
projections or?
I don't know how they do it, but it's scientific. We're supposed to believe it. Do they project how much farther it's going to go before it hits the ground? Because we saw Judge hit one off a letter at the top of the Hall of Fame a few weeks ago at
Mhm.
Kauffman Stadium. How do you judge where that's coming down?
Yeah, that one I thought went farther than what they said too.
Agreed. And this was explain what happened. You heard it when you heard it last night,
Oh yeah, so I heard the snap of the bat, the smack of the bat.
right?
Turn my head and I'm like, there's no way that's not going to be a home run. It bounces all the way off over 3 fences.
Yes, he cleared 3 walls in center field and hit the crown vision board thing, whatever.
Mm.
I mean, just a monster shot. He's got more in him than that. He didn't pull that one.
Yeah,
Don't you think he'll hit a pulled home run farther than that?
it's crazy because even in his first home run at the K a couple days ago, it was a line drive home run, but it looked like he wasn't even trying.
I know.
So once he starts hitting them like this, he's going to hit a lot of home runs
That's
that are
cool.
that powerful.
In July and August, Kauffman Stadium becomes a regular Major League ballpark. It's
Yeah.
not as hard to hit it out. There's
Mhm.
humidity, there's heat, the ball flies. As a percentage, it's maybe around 7%, but it really in August. But it really goes. Caglione has the kind of power. This is why people covet guys this strong. He has the kind of power that will be outs at the warning track for most hitters if they hit it exactly the same way. Because it's too high, they didn't catch enough of it, whatever. His are going to be out by 5 feet. He's going to miss hit balls for home runs right and left. Stunning power.
Yep.
And he looks like he fits in now. Does he not seem comfortable?
Yeah. Looks like he fits in with the clubhouse.
Folks, the Royals are in second place in the division. They're only 3 games out of the wild card. I can't believe it. The Mets are coming to town this weekend. Go see a game. We'll see what happens. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled.
Kansas City's place to talk. KCMO.